Hi, so I'm out here at the Hamilton Park Pacesetter Magnet School with Miss Patricia Price Hicks. Ms. Hicks, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
So we have a few questions for you as people are getting to know more about the neighborhood up here. The first thing I want to ask is, how long have you lived here?
I was born in Hamilton Park, born in 1959 and reared in this community, went to this very elementary school.
And what are some of your favorite early memories of growing up here?
My fond memories were just walking to the school, being in school programs, hearing that pep rally on Friday. The high school, you could hear the floor and the bleachers stomping. And I loved it. And I thought that I would graduate from Hamilton Park High School.
So you mentioned that you almost graduated from the school, but you didn't. Can you tell us why?
I thought I was. Due to Brown versus the Board of Education, 1954, the city of Dallas, DISD, and Richardson, and other school districts did not do as they were asked. So as the 60s came in, and we had the Civil Rights 1964 amendment. Our last class to march, to my knowledge, in this building was 1969. So the following year, the junior high had to close as well. They only kept the elementary school. It was a sad day. We did not know when I came up here to this school that the class that was before me, my brother was in that class. That's the class of 1976. They lined those students up on buses. Those students did not know where they were going that day. They took them to Northwood Junior High, which is no longer in existence, off of Court Road. They took them to Forest Meadows Junior High, which is off of Whitehurst. I'm not sure if they took any to Berkner or Richardson Junior High. They may have, but I'm not sure. But it was a sad day, and I was a part of it. I'm standing here as a part of history today to say that even though the high school had to close, the junior high had to close. And remember, and I'm going to say this, the African American school had to close, high school. We performed, as I don't think I mentioned it, or I may have. Our high school went to state in the early 60s, athletics. We were great with the football, as with other academic skills as well. But it was sad for the closure. But I'm glad that we keep, as I stated, that camaraderie. We're on Facebook talking. We have Facebook groups, and we get together. We have the school-wide reunion, and we have our churches. So we go to the Hamilton Park United Methodist Church. And let me say something. That church is the only church that is still in the community. Other churches, the Church of Christ, moved on. They expanded off of Greenville Avenue. That's the Greenville Avenue Church of Christ. First Baptist of Hamilton Park, they moved up to Richardson, to the church that was formerly the First Baptist of Richardson, which is across from the administration building. People have moved out of the area, but they still we have a love for this school. I'll always be, even though I graduated from Lake Collins and I'm a Wildcat, I was a Bobcat first, and I'm a Bobcat for life.
So tell us, what do you think is the most important thing about this neighborhood and maybe this school that most people don't know about?
First of all, what people do not know is that this community is a pre-planned African-American community that is still intact today. It was created after the post-World War II era, the 50s. And what people do not know about this school is that Hamilton Park High School, and I'm proud to say I still have the Bobcat spirit, won a state football championship back in the early 60s.
So thank you again for joining us today. One of the amazing things that you have done is the process of getting this historical marker that you see behind us put into place. Can you tell us what that process was like of getting the marker?
Okay, the process of getting the marker, number one, I was oblivious. I did not know the process. But what I did, I was in a meeting downtown with our city councilman, Mayor Pro Tem Adam Magoo, and he told those, the residents that were there, the only thing that he could help us to get was some form of a marker. And I'm so glad to say that as I was writing, I did interviews with the original homeowners. I discovered so much valuable, important information. One thing I discovered was that all of the original homeowners, whether they knew it or not, they were trailblazers. They were blazing a path. We had people in this community. One gentleman, his name was Mr. Foxall. Mr. Foxall was a sculptor. We had one lady in this community. She was an actress. We had a couple of actresses, and she has an auditorium downtown with T-Ball, the Black Academy of Arts and Letters, named after her. I can't think of her name right now. We had landscapers. We had a Tuskegee Airman, Mr. Buford Marshall, here in our community. We had a wealth of talented and gifted parents. And so I began to unravel their stories and began to figure out that these were hidden treasures that needed, that as I brought them together, it just made the story come alive.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's wonderful to hear about. Obviously, a lot of history, a lot of amazing people coming from this area. Can you tell us a little bit more about the school and the school's impact on the neighborhood?
This school, this institution is the catalyst. It holds the glue. It was the plans that the city of Dallas and Richardson ISD had in place, the way they structured it right here in the middle. It is the heartbeat of the community. Many functions, not only school functions. My parents used to come and vote here. We have utilized the auditorium. Churches come and have church services, worship services. We've utilized the track for different events. We have a youth football team, sports organization. So many people come up here and utilize this school. The impact that this school has is so great that the graduates and the students that attended Hamilton Park, we still get together annually for a school-wide reunion, and that keeps the camaraderie together for us. The foundation that I received from my elementary years propelled me to be standing here right now before you, because they taught us how to speak, how to walk. They taught us how to conduct ourselves, how to carry ourselves. They gave us that confidence. And I love this school. My mother was a teacher here, so I love this school.
Why do you think that people should visit this marker, and what do you want them to remember about Hamilton Park?
I think people should come and see this marker because in the city of Dallas and on the outskirts of Dallas, where you used to have, where the Galleria is, that was the Alpha community. It no longer is because of redevelopment, because of the tollway and of the Galleria. You had Little Egypt over in Lake Highlands, which no longer is. It was demolished in a day. You have Old Short, North Dallas, which is where Uptown was. Those black areas are gone. The only area that you have that is still, and Deep Ellum, that was a black community where Dr. Theodore Hamilton, who this community is named after, that is where his office was. That is where all of our clubs, nightclubs, our state theater, and different things were located in Deep Ellum. That's where a lot of our doctors, dentists, where they had offices over in Old North Dallas and Deep Ellum. Those communities are no longer. This community is still intact. Therefore, I feel that tourists, as well as students in this community, as well as residents in this community, need to read and see what our forefathers, our ancestors did. This very property that we're standing on was one day a cotton field. And the Fields family, I'm going to give them their credit while I'm on this camera. They had property. You see where that auditorium is? Across from there, it was nothing but the Fields family. And it was about 6 or 7 brothers, and it was a couple of sisters. These people worked hard. Their families are still living in this very community. And I have high praises for them. I want people to realize that these people whose names I'm giving out, some of their descendants are still living. And it is very important, and it is incumbent upon me that I share and tell the story. I feel like it is a significant piece of Dallas history, not only Dallas history, Texas history, and the United States history, dealing with how this community came about.
Thank you so much.